We make our way to the bedroom, which is located on the fourth floor of the castle. I hated climbing the rocky stairs, which seemed to have been quickly constructed with whatever uneven stones they had managed to find. Part of me wanted to ask Hieronymus if we could replace them with actual stairs, but that would probably cost a fortune and no doubt denigrate the castle's historic character. The castle seemed to be bigger than Ravane Cottage. They were probably the same size, but Ravane Cottage was long and flat, like a giant hotel. This was a full-on castle, with staircases and rooms everywhere. It almost reminded me of the chaotic layout of the Winchester Mystery House in California, although I had never been to say for sure. As soon as we enter the room, Hieronymus sighs as he sits down on the end of the bed, massaging his temples with his fingertips. I don't even know where to begin. You could tell me if you're mad at me for keeping this from you for so long, I offer. If you want me to apologize, I will. Hieronymus just shakes his head. No, I can't ask you to apologize. You had several good reasons not to tell me, and it was also not your decision to make. This child belongs to Virginia, not to us, and she had a right to disclose this information on her terms. That was a really mature and respectful way to look at the situation, and I can't help but force a smile to my lips. So, how do you feel about it? I thought children were a few years down the line, he admits. I know that you seem convinced that you cannot have children, but I remain less certain. I shrug and let my voice trail off. I'm not opposed to it if it does happen, but we have had sex pretty much every night for the past few months, and nothing. You even recently admitted to me that you didn't even use contraceptive magic since I've got back from Miss Minchin's. So there are a lot of times that I could have gotten pregnant, but didn't. The fact remains. Hieronymus stands up and goes over to the window. I am not sure I'm ready to be a father, Tori. If it helps, I'm not sure I'm ready to be a mother, I offer. I don't think it's one of those things you can really prepare for. They have parenting classes, but typically people go to those after they already discovered they're pregnant. There's too much going on right now with my new role. He shakes his head. I do not have time to be a father. I do not have time to invest in a child's upbringing. I want to be involved in their life, but I'm not sure how I can be. I don't really know what to tell you, I say, digging the toe of my boot into the floor. I know your upbringing was left to a series of foster families, but apparently that's what it's like in noble families. I was raised at school, pretty much, and my parents were just there to feed me and clothe me, and stuff like that. I don't think it'll really be much different here, except I'm sure the staff will bathe them and clothe them and teach them how to read and write and stuff like that. Right? Then what are we supposed to do? Hieronymus asks as he turns around to face me. If hired help addresses their physical and educational needs, what are we supposed to provide? Their emotional needs, I remind him. We're there to be supportive, to lead by example. Like, if they come to us and say, look what I learned, we're supposed to be like, oh, great job, you're working so hard, and stuff like that. I can't help but giggle. So, in other words, the opposite of the Professor Grabiner approach. Hieronymus looks over and smirks at me. Yes, I don't think setting their toys on fire when they make a mistake will set a good impression. Don't forget that Virginia is here to help, I remind him. I think she's really trying to make an effort to show you how mature she can be, if her new look is anything to say about it. I am open to the idea, Hieronymus admits, so long as we make it clear that it is her child. However, our interactions with it could prove beneficial down the line, to help us figure out how we want to raise our own child when the time comes. And if I can't get pregnant, I ask, and Hieronymus just shrugs. I'll be honest with you, we were waiting to gauge how you reacted to this news before we had part 2 of our conversation. Part 2? Hieronymus raises his eyebrows. There's more I need to know? I pause as I just shake my head. There is more. I'm just not quite sure how to tell you. You mean everything to me, Tori, Hieronymus reminds me. I will not be angry with you. I'm curious to hear what you have to say. There might still be a way to have a child together without me being pregnant, I tell him, and Hieronymus raises his eyebrows. Do tell. I don't know the exact process of how it works, but it involves science, I warn him. Hieronymus just gestures for me to continue, and so I do. There's a medical process called IVF, in vitro fertilization. Basically, they take my egg and your sperm and they mix it together in a little petri dish, and then they attach it to the uterine wall, and the baby starts growing there and develops, hopefully, like a normal pregnancy. That does not sound like a good idea, Hieronymus says quietly. I understand that this is what some people in the low world may do, but mixing science with the sacredness of life seems to be a formula for unsavory complications. Virginia was reading about it while she was in the waiting room for one of her doctor's appointments, I explain. Virginia was born sick, and she's been going to doctors all her life to treat her condition. I know that science and technology are supposed to be bad, but they can save people's lives in ways that green magic can't. I mean, I would try to find a way to do this magically, but I think that's a bad idea. I agree, Hieronymus says, and he appears deep in thought. I will give the matter further consideration. However, this would be several years down the line. You need access to your magic in the other world, Tori, and I am not sure you could go 9 months without it. Neither am I admit. That is why Virginia has volunteered to be a surrogate, if we need her to be. Hieronymus just stands there and stares at me. What? A surrogate, I repeat. Like we take my egg and your sperm and put the embryo in her uterus and let it grow there until it's ready to be born. Then, in 9 months, it pops out and we have our own little baby made from our genes. It would basically make Virginia a giant baby incubator. Hieronymus narrows his eyes at me. That would be quite a thing to ask of Miss Danson. She actually recommended the idea to me, I offer. She really likes being pregnant. If she wants to stay here in Shetlock and pop out heirs for us, she's okay with that. I hesitate. At least for now, she is. She likes being pregnant now, but once the first kid pops out, she may not like it so much. Especially in the 3rd trimester when she's sick all the time. Some women have it really rough. Apparently, my mom was on bed rest for like 6 weeks with me, and she had to quit her job at a law firm. When she tried to go back to work 3 years after I was born, no one would hire her, so she just got a job at a coffee shop down the street to help make ends meet. Hieronymus just continues to stare at me. And has she told you what she wants in exchange for her services? She wants to learn how to cook in the kitchen, so if she ever does want to get a job later on, it can be something involving food, and she'll have that experience, I explain. And she wants to stay here, for free, and eat for free. I don't think that's really that big of an ask. Maybe we could also hire someone to help with childcare and education and all that. She didn't ask for that. That's just me throwing out ideas. That seems like poor compensation, Hieronymus admits, but I am not sure what else to offer her. I am not sure what else she wants. Does she no longer desire to be a star athlete? She tried to enter a few tournaments back during her final year, I said quietly. She didn't meet the requirements for any of them. She tried out for a lot of competitions even before she came to Iris Academy, but she was always at the bottom of the list. Donald told me that she was never even state ranked. I think she's realized now that her health conditions have kind of caught up with her. That is unfortunate, Hieronymus says softly. Either way, this is just a hypothetical, I offer. Remember, with Virginia's health conditions, we don't even know if she's going to have a kid, or if it's going to go well or whatever. The kid could be born really sick, just like Virginia was. We're not trying to jinx it, but Virginia wants to be realistic and keep an open mind. Hieronymus nods. I think we should give Miss Danson our unconditional support in the present and try not to let the future uncertainties weigh too heavily on our minds. I agree, I say as I smile up at him. Hieronymus gives me a soft, gentle smile as he comes over and wraps his arms around me. He pulls away slightly, fluffing my hair out behind me. For what it's worth, I think you would be an excellent mother, Tori, he tells me. And you would make an excellent father, I reply. I told all of my friends as much last year. You are patient and kind and gentle and nurturing. You're not angry anymore. I'm too tired to be angry, Hieronymus admits. I also have nothing to be angry about. Stressed, yes, but it is easier to overcome my burdens when I spend my days with a person who offers me their unconditional love and support. Me? I ask teasingly. Is it me? It's me, right? Hieronymus just chuckles as he leans forward to kiss me, and I wrap my arms around his neck as I kiss him back. We may not have had the power to see the future, but I didn't need a scrying orb to know that Hieronymus was going to be an amazing father one day. One day.